And now it is my privilege to turn it over to Toastmaster Vicki Nan. Vicki, please take it away.
Thank you, Ace. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first educational web seminar. And Ace gave you the lowdown on what you need to do to ask questions. So this is going to be very interactive, but we're going to spend a little bit of time at the beginning covering some basics. If you have questions throughout, just submit a question and Ace will let me know that you've got a question. So, and by the way, I also want to mention that this PowerPoint is available to anybody after the presentation today. Just go ahead and send me an email. You can send that to programquality@district10.org, and I would be happy to send you a copy of the PowerPoint. So, you're all busy now planning your club contests or your area contests or your division contests, and there will even be a district contest. Your first order of business will be to receive your contest kits. Now, at the club level, you will need to procure your contest kit yourself. If you're an area director, please stay in touch with your clubs. Let them know, particularly your vice president of education of each of your clubs, let that person know that he or she is going to need to download or purchase the contest kits from Toastmasters International. And where do you find them? You go to Toastmasters.org and you can search for the Humorous Speech Contest Kit and the Table Topics Contest Kit. Those are our two fall contests this Toastmasters year, the Humorous Speech Contest and the Table Topics Contest. It is a free download, or you can purchase them from Toastmasters International. They're $11 each plus shipping. I just want to mention that if you download them, it's free, but you're going to wind up making lots and lots of copies because you'll need copies for your judges, for example, and your other contest helpers. I've got this here as a hot link, and we can take a quick look here. I think you're all familiar with Toastmasters.org. You don't need the www. You can see in the search bar, you can type in Humorous Speech Contest Kit and click on that, and voila, it is the first item that pops up. And you can see here how you can download it. I'm not going to download it right now because it's going to take too much time to do that. And now I need to get back into my PowerPoint for you. Here we go. This is the first time I'm doing a webinar, so I appreciate your patience with me. All right, if you're an area or division director, you are going to receive a hard copy contest kit for both of your fall contests. They will be available after I get back from the international convention. So in about 2 weeks, division directors will be hearing from me, and I will give the 5 division directors the hard copy contest kits that they will distribute to their area directors. All right, so at the club level, you need to download it or buy it from Toastmasters International. If you are an area or division director, or you're going to be the contest chair for the district contest, I will make sure that you get the hard copy. What's really, really important is that you review your contest kit materials immediately. And you will need to provide your chief judge with all the judging related forms. Do not wait until the last minute to open the envelope that I will give your division director in a couple of weeks. Make sure you open that right away and sort through so that you're familiar with what those documents are. So, a question for you. What is your #1 print resource as you prepare for your speech contest? And I hope you were thinking the 2017 rule book. I want you all to be very familiar with the rule book. I'm going to click on this link and we'll go see what the rule book looks like. There will be a hard copy in your contest kit for the area and division directors, but anybody can download the contest rule book. It's free, you don't have to log in, and this is what it looks like. It runs about 25 pages. It's a very easy read. Every one of our contestants, our contest chairs, our contest masters, our chief judges, every single person who is helping in some way with the contest should read the rule book. Why? It will help you run a fair contest. And we want our contest, first and foremost, to be fair. And you will learn a lot about holding a contest when you do that. I am going to clean something up right there. Now, some other print resources. How many of you are familiar with district10.org. I think another note we have to make for future web seminars is that we have a voting button or something that says yes or no.
So you can vote, and I see a couple of people that have their hands up as well, so they're familiar with that. We have some questions in, but great feedback.
Okay, great, very good. All right, district10.org. You don't need the www, but you can put it in. It'll get you there just the same. District10.org is our Northeastern Ohio Toastmasters District website, and you will find all kinds of good information on there. However, the district downloads page does require a login. You have a login. If you don't know what it is, our webmaster, David Caban, will help you track it down. He'll give it to you. If you've forgotten it, he'll help you with it. You want to go to district10.org because there are some very, very helpful materials for your contest. One is your contest master script. So if you're an area director, if you're a VPE, you may very well be your contest chair. The contest master can often be the contest chair, but the contest master is the Toastmaster of the contest. It's the person who runs the meeting. It's the MC of that contest. Sometimes it's the contest chair. It isn't always. As an area director, you are welcome to delegate out the contest master role. You can also be the contest master if you like. The contest master runs that contest. And there is a script that we have prepared for you. It is available at district10.org on the district downloads page. There is also a chief judge script, and there's a contest program, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can simply go to the district downloads page and download these materials, and if you have questions about them, let me know. These are updated scripts for this Toastmasters year. I've referred to the 2017 rulebook and have made some changes to old scripts, so please don't use old scripts. Please don't use old programs. Ace, any questions?
Good timing, because I have a question for you. Toastmaster Karen Haynes asks, where can we get a checklist of what forms we need for the humorous speech contest?
Karen, that is a good question. And I mentioned that we have the Toastmasters contest kits. Those are, I'm going to exit out of here. I'm going to go into, let's see, I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to go back to Toastmasters.org, and I will show you where you're going to find those kits. Okay, so when you go into Toastmasters.org, see the search bar in the upper right, you're going to put in Humorous Speech Contest Kit. Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll show you this. I was going to avoid doing this. You're going to click on this download kit. I guess it's a link of sorts down here. I'm not a technical person. My computer asked me to save it. It's not really going to save it anywhere except to my screen. I'm going to open it up, and you see this entire list of PDFs. These are all your documents that you are going to refer to as you prepare for your contest and during your contest. All right, so you've got certificates for the participants. You've got judges' certification of eligibility. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because this is not a judges training session, but you do want to make sure your judges are trained. You've got timer sheets. You've got a form for the speaker to fill out to indicate that he or she is eligible. You've got the ballots for the judges, including for your tiebreaker judge. So I hope that answered your question, Karen. This is where you're going to find all your documents for your contest. They're going to be in that downloadable kit. Now, if you're an area director, you will receive a hard copy kit, but in the meantime, you are welcome to take a look at that downloadable set of PDFs. All right. Karen, if that didn't help, then ask your question again and I'll try to help you again. Okay, so your key organizers are your contest chair and your chief judge. Your contest chair is the person who organized the contest, but his or her right-hand man or gal is the chief judge. The contest chair will recruit the chief judge and the contest master if the contest master is going to be a different person. All right. The chief judge, in turn, recruits all kinds of other helpers, the voting judges, the tiebreaker judge, the timers, the ballot counters. Now, I put on here also the sergeant at arms. That's my addition because the rule book does not state who recruits the sergeant at arms, but somebody has to recruit the sergeant at arms, so it might as well be the chief judge, but it doesn't really matter. The rule book says that the chief judge recruits these various judges, the timers, and the counters. Now, in District 10, some of our longer-term Toastmasters have, they opt as the contest chair to recruit these helpers themselves. But I want you to know what the rule book says. And the rule book says these are the folks that the chief judge recruits. Okay? Now, question. Is there a question, Ace? Otherwise, I'll go into some prepared questions.
So, Vicki, can you go back one slide, please?
Certainly.
What does SAA stand for?
Good question, Sergeant at Arms. So we are going to be doing a table topics contest this fall. And what will happen in the table topics contest is the Sergeant at Arms will escort the table topics contestants from the room, with the exception of the very first contestant. You know, they'll draw for speaking order during the briefings prior to the start of the contest. The first contestant will remain in the room, but the Sergeant at Arms will sequester the other contestants so they can't hear the topic. And then the contest master will present the table topic. And the Sergeant at Arms will stand at the door and make sure nobody enters while that contestant, or any other contestant for that matter, is speaking. And then after that contestant finishes his 1 to 2 minute table topic, he'll sit down in the room in the audience, and then the Sergeant at Arms will escort contestant number 2 into the room, and so on. And we do that also during our evaluation contest. The evaluators, those contestants, will be escorted from the room by the Sergeant at Arms. And in general, the Sergeant at Arms mans the doors, make sure that only authorized people come and go at the appropriate times. Does that help?
Thank you, Vicki. Yes.
All right. So I've got my first FAQ. These are the next few slides are questions that I've encountered over the last several years of either being a judge or a contest master or just attending contests. Is the chief judge a voting judge? So do you say yes or do you say no? Is the chief judge a voting judge? Well, the rule book says all voting judges and the tie-breaking judge will judge all contestants. The chief judge does not judge contestants. All right? So something to keep in mind, the chief judge does not get a ballot. The chief judge does not break ties. That's what the rule book says. All right. We can move on to the next question. How many judges are required at a club contest? And area directors, don't forget, you are the first line resource for your club officers. If they have questions, they should be coming to you. So keep it, and I hope they will ask you, and I hope you will volunteer to help out at their contest, maybe as a judge or maybe in some other role. So how many judges are required at a club contest? Well, the rule book says at club contests, a contest chair, chief judge, at least 5 voting judges, a tie-breaking judge, 3 counters, and 2 timers are appointed. Oh, but read the rest of the sentence. Unless impractical. Unless impractical. So what does that mean? At the club level, well, pretty much, you can do pretty much whatever you want at the club level regarding judges. Ideally, you would have at least 5 voting judges. It doesn't matter which clubs they come from. But if it's impossible and some clubs really struggle with this, you can have fewer. Ace, are there questions about this or anything prior to this?
No questions, but our attendees are right on topic, answering your questions exactly.
Okay, good. Very good. Now, here's a different take on this question. Must every club at an area contest provide a judge? All right, so you've got an area. You're an area director. Maybe you've got 4 or 5 or 6 clubs in your area. Now it's time for your area contest. Must you recruit a judge from each of your clubs? The rule book says, and that's page 9, by the way, in the rule book, at area contests, there shall be an equal number of voting judges from each club in the area. Ah, but here comes part 2, or a minimum of 5 voting judges. Or a minimum of 5 voting judges. Now notice, it doesn't say where those 5 voting judges come from. So if you have an area with 4 clubs, and they're all in good standing and they all participate, Could you have 3 judges from one club and 2 judges from another club in your area? Yes. That's what the rule book basically says. You can have, as long as you have a minimum of 5 voting judges, it doesn't say where they have to come from. Now, ideally, you would like 1 from each club, but this rule says you just need 5. Did you have a question, Ace?
Some feedback from our chat is about prison clubs where it may be impractical to get a judge from that prison club.
Yes, that's right. Your prison clubs are a bit challenging, so because of course they can't get out. So, well, one suggestion that has been made over the years, and not just here in District 10, but in other districts where they have prison clubs, is could you bring the area contest to the prison? Just something to think about. I visited a prison club recently, and it was, and I don't mean to be dramatic about this, but it really was a life-changing experience. And so that would be something I would encourage you to consider, bringing your area contest to the prison. Now, if that's not practical, then what are you going to do? If you've got a prison club in your area, well, the rule here says, or a minimum of 5 voting judges. So you are going to work hard to find 5 voting judges, regardless of where they're from. They're obviously not going to be coming from the prison club.
Vicki, it looks like we may have another question from Yolanda. Yolanda, can you give your question? I unmuted you. Are you able to give your question?
Ace, I can't hear Yolanda. Maybe she could write it.
Yeah, Yolanda, so if you have a question, go ahead and please put that in chat.
All right, so if you're hosting your area contest, when you're hosting your area contest, a safety feature for you would be to have 5 voting judges from anywhere in the district. That would be one way to approach it. But could you theoretically have 3 from one club and 2 from another? Yep, theoretically you could. I would not encourage that, but the rule says that that's, the rule doesn't say that that's not allowed. All right. Next question. Let's talk about how much time the judges have to mark their ballots. So the contestants have all competed in a given contest, and, well, let's say, first of all, the first contestant is done. There will be 1 minute of silence between contestant speeches, during which voting judges and the tie-breaking judge will mark their ballots. Okay, so between contestants, 1 minute of silence, and your contest master will ask the timers to put 1 minute on the clock, and please be silent. The contest master should not keep yakking. Contest master should be silent. And now your last contestant has finished and sat down. What does the contest master say? Well, here's what he has to do, or she has to do. When the last contestant finishes speaking, the contest master, well, it's also the contest chair, will ask, excuse me, I just want to clarify that. The contest chair is how the rule book refers to both the contest master and the contest chair. The contest chair will ask for silence until the ballot counters have collected all ballots. Excuse me. So what does that mean? That means do not ask for a certain period of time on the clock. Simply say, we will now have silence until the ballots have been collected. That's it. There's no 2 minutes. That's old. That's not what the rule book says. So this is what the rule book says. Give your judges as much time as they need to mark their ballots and to tally up their total. Some judges will be counting on their fingers and their toes. They will need every second they have available to calculate their scores. So give them that time in silence. Okay, that's a relatively new change, a relatively recent change in the rule book. More FAQs. Should we thank our judges? Now, at the end of your contest, as the contest chair or the contest master, you will want to stand up and thank all your helpers. Some of them you'll mention in your contest program. Do we thank our judges openly? Well, voting judges at all levels shall remain anonymous when practical. And I want to emphasize the anonymous part. We really don't want our judges to be obvious to the audience. Now, most observant people in the audience will figure out who the judges are. I'm not going to pretend that doesn't happen. But we don't want to call attention to the judges. I've heard over the years that there have been cases where disgruntled contestants have hounded judges after the contest. So we really don't want to make the judges prominent at the contest. We want to keep them, they're going to have a low profile. Thank them privately. Give them a little handwritten thank you note. Thank them for their time. Last year, here in District 10, I was at a contest where a contestant was so upset, he literally got in the faces of several people in the audience, and I don't think he knew that whether they were judges or not, but he was furious that he didn't place better. We want to minimize that sort of an interaction between a contestant and a judge. So help your judges stay anonymous to the extent that it's practical. Ask them when it's time to turn in the ballots. If you're the chief judge and you're briefing them, ask them to hold the ballots low down. Don't have them waving them in the air. That calls a lot of attention to them. And brief the ballot counters on how to look for those ballots being held like at seat level. All right, so you don't thank our judges openly. They're supposed to be anonymous. All right, can a contestant compete in 2 different area contests? As we know, several of our members belong to more than one club. And what does the rule book say? Can they compete in 2 different area contests? So here's what the rule book says. No contestant can compete in more than one area speech contest of a given type, even if the 2 areas are in different divisions or districts. So at the club level, Joe Toastmaster can compete in the humorous speech contest at 5 different clubs. He belongs to 5 different clubs. He can compete in the humorous contest at 5 different clubs. If he wins at all those clubs, or even at more than one of them, he is going to have to choose which area contest he's going to compete in. Now, if he competes in both the humorous speech contest and table topics, and he happens to win both at more than one club, we'll still have to choose. He can continue to compete at the area level, but he can only compete in one area for humorous and one area for table topics. Does that make sense? Because ultimately, Toastmasters International wants to keep him from competing against himself. That's where that comes from. All right. So, and we actually did see this happen year before last. Maureen Zapala won both the International Speech Contest, and I want to say it was evaluation at the district level. So you can continue to compete, but the contests have to be different. All right. Here's one that's comes up a lot. Can a contestant ask what his time was? And this answer I actually got directly from somebody at World Headquarters. And this is an answer I received in writing. A contestant may ask the chief judge about his or her own individual time after the contest. Okay, so he shouldn't go up to the timers. If a contestant wants to know what his time was, direct him to the chief judge. Okay? Does anybody have any questions, Ace?
We'll have a few once you get to the end of your presentation.
Okay. So who can protest a speech? So protest is a pretty serious thing. Protests are limited to eligibility, which nobody in the audience is likely to point out, because eligibility has to do with being a member in good standing and a club in good standing. The other aspect of a protest is originality, and this one, oh my gosh, this one came up so many times this past Toastmasters year. Protests shall only be lodged by voting judges and contestants. So let's say you are an audience member, you're a Toastmaster just visiting another area or another club, and you think that the content of that speech was taken from another source, and it exceeded 25% of the contestant's material. What can you do as just an ordinary audience member? Well, really nothing, because only voting judges and contestants can lodge a protest, and that includes for originality. And the rule on that is no more than 25% of the contestant's material can come from another source. This has come up in District 10. I was involved in some protests, and it's not fun. It's not fun. So just when you're coaching and I mean coaching in a very loose sense, when you're guiding your clubs in preparing for contests, just encourage them to make sure their contestants' speeches are original. Oh, and by the way, that doesn't mean that you've never heard that speech before. As long as it's the same person, he can make his own speech over and over again. We see that a lot, especially in as contestants advance. But it has to be their own material. All right, here we are. Ace, I am done with my FAQs.
Well, thank you, Vicki, for an awesome presentation. I know I learned a couple of new things. So one of the new things I learned was about the that 2-minute rule after the last participant is no longer applicable, and to give judges all of the time that they have. At this point, I encourage our participants, if you have questions, feel free to send them to the Q&A or to the chat. The only other question that we had outstanding, and I know you covered this earlier in your presentation, Vicki, but if you could show where to download the rulebook, the latest copy.
Certainly. Let me escape from this. I'm going to go in here. All right, so here we are at Toastmasters International, toastmasters.org, right? Everybody knows how to get there. This little search field up here can be very helpful. It is where you will put, you can put, for example, I've got it saved up here. You can put in here humorous speech contest. I don't know if you got to see that. You could just put in humorous, for example, as you see I've done in the past. And now we'll go look for it. And you do not need a login for this. So you see all kinds of other materials here. You see there's a ballot, tie-breaking judge's ballot, there's an article here. But here, I happen to know, I'm pretty familiar with this. This is the kit. So this is where you can download it, and it is free. It doesn't cost anything to download it. Now, if you want to order it, you need to go to the shop. Do you see where I'm highlighting shop up here? You can order it from the shop. It'll be shipped to your mailing address within usually about a week or two, and it's $11 plus postage. So you'll go to the Humorous Speech Contest Kit, and you see from this picture here, these are all the documents that are in there. You can download the kit, and I'm just going to do this again. I've got it open on my screen somewhere already. And you're going to see all these PDFs, all these Acrobat documents. All right, so you can do that for the humorous contest, and you can also go back here and do it for the table topics contest. Everybody still with me? You'll hit search, and here we go. We're going to go in here, and this first one happens to be the kit, and there's your kit, and you can download it here. It's going to take a few seconds. And voila, there are the kits. You'll see lots of similar materials look familiar. So here's the first place certificate, second place certificate, and so on. The various judging forms, counter forms, and the all-important rule book. Right, the rule book. So you'll want to make sure you download the rule book. I also would like to take a minute to show you district10.org. I would like to encourage all of you to get familiar with district10.org. Now I should probably log out here because I get to go behind the scenes and post things. Oh, that was a mistake. I should not have done that. Let me go back in here. Just take another second here. Okay, so here's district10.org. I hope you're all familiar with this. You can go into the calendar and see when our contests that have been scheduled are scheduled. And so you see the calendar here. You can click on a date and you can see what's been scheduled. Now I want to show you the district downloads page. The district, go up here to these 4 tabs, and this is where you'll go to district downloads. But you're going to have to log into that to see that. And I am cached here, so I'm just going to go through. And like I said, if you need a login, this is not what you guys are supposed to see. You're not supposed to see this. This is my behind the scenes stuff. Okay, district downloads. And this is where you'll see all kinds of resources. If you have a suggestion for something to be posted here, please let me know, because I can post up here, anything related to our programs. So here we go, scroll down, scroll down. Here are contest materials. I mentioned the scripts. So for example, the Toastmasters script. You're going to click on that, and here you go. So this is the Contest Master script. It's just a Word doc, and it's divided into two basic parts. For example, this is the Contest Master script. The first part is the briefing of contestants, and it tells you what to say. And then it's going to give you the script during the contest. So you do not have to reinvent the wheel, folks. You have a script. It's been rehearsed. It's been in use for many, many years here, and it gets edited and adjusted as rules change. And this is the latest and greatest version, so I would encourage you to download the scripts from district10.org. Okay? And in addition to the Chief Judge script, in addition to the Contest Master script, you've got the Chief Judge script, and you've got the template. I can show you that. You got a question?
I do have a question. So the question is do we use the same username and password for District 10 as Toastmaster.org? And the answer there is no. So you will need to get a separate login for District10.org.
Okay. So here is the program. Again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. This is already set up, table topics and humorous speech contests. There are old versions out there. Do not use them. This Toastmasters promise is up to date. Some of the old versions have really old Toastmasters promises, and we want to be up to date. And you can see there are things that you're going to fill in, and other things are already populated for you. For example, at the area level and higher, you will want to include your district officers. You are going to want to have your fellow area directors, and so on. Okay, and of course, all your contest helpers, not your judges. Keep your judges' identities secret to the extent it's possible. Okay? Ace, anything else?
So can you go back to District 10 to see if you're a new, if you don't already have a District 10 login, how you would get that?
Oh boy, I think the best bet there is to email the webmaster.
Do you want me to show?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do that, Ace? Go ahead.
So if you don't mind here, I'm going to switch gears and share my screen. If
go right
that's
ahead.
Okay. When you go to district10.org, there's a district member login. If you click that, you'll get the login page. And if you do not already have a login, there's this new user link. You can click here to register and put in, you can pick your own username, put in your first name, last name, and email address. I highly, highly recommend that everybody in the district sign up for a District 10 account, especially if you need to download resources.
Ace, that is great information. Thank you so much for pointing that out.
Absolutely.
All right. Are there any other questions? Am I on, Ace? Is everybody seeing it?
Yes, you're on. You'll have to reshare.
I'll have to reshare. Okay. Okay. All right. So, any other questions? I will post here where how you can write to me if you want a copy of the PowerPoint. If you have any follow-up questions, I'm happy to answer them for you. I see Annette has a question about budgets. Annette, I'm going to assume you mean budgets for your area contest. And yes, the district will be reimbursing you. I have to double check on what it is. I think it's $50 for area contests and $100 for division contests. $50 for area contests. What you'll need to do after you have bought your food for your area contest, you'll submit a district reimbursement form. It goes to Ace, and he's our finance manager, right?
So it'll go actually to Tim, who is the district director, has to sign it off. And then
there you go. Then it comes to Ace. Okay, I usually just CC Ace. But yes, okay, send it to Tim Judah. He's got to sign off on it. And Annette, yes, to answer your question, you may combine a contest with another area, and you can combine your budgets then. So you can pull those two $50 budgets and have $100 to spend on refreshments at your contest. Make sure if you hold a combined contest that you judge your contestants in each area separately. The area's contestants do not get judged against any other area's contestants. Okay? That was a good question. They're all good questions. Anything else?
So not a question, Vicki, but from Craig. I don't know if you saw that, but thank you for helping us to deliver quality contests.
Well, thank you, Craig, for joining. I want to extend thanks to all of you for taking time late at night to come and join this seminar. If you have any other suggestions for topics that you would like to see covered, please let me know. I love sharing information and gathering information, and I really, really appreciate all your input. So whether it's on contests or education programs, we are going to be rolling pathways out at the end of November. We're getting our guides all ready. That'll be coming down the pike here soon. There are, regarding training, there are all kinds of programs that we run in District 10, and we want to help you as you participate in them make the most of them. So thank you, Craig, and thank you all of you for attending, and thank you, ACE and Tri-C, for sharing this WebEx technology with us. It's very, very generous.
Well, we are happy to share and help the community where we can.
And then I'll be in touch, either Ace or I will be in touch to let you all know where you can download a copy of the recording if you're interested in it, or if you've got a fellow Toastmaster who's looking for a copy of the recording. It will be available soon. I just don't know where yet.
Vicki, I know you said people can email you at programquality@district10.org if they want a copy of the PowerPoint. Can we also put the PowerPoint with the recording as well?
I think we could do that. Yeah, I think we can do that. And I think I can post this PowerPoint to the district downloads page as well. I think we'll start a new section for webinar PowerPoints. And maybe that's where the webinar recordings will go. I'm not sure about that. Our webmaster is working on that for us. All right. Well, if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We are looking forward to well, we're in the beginning of the exciting contest season. I want your contests to be fair and well-run and fun. So Ace, does that conclude our evening here?
So yes, it does. So again, Vicki, thank you very much for facilitating this. Thank you to all of our wonderful attendees for learning and engaging. If you have additional questions, feel free to send them there to Vicki. Also, if you have ideas for other educational topics, because I know Vicki would like to share her wealth of knowledge. And also, we would love to have some feedback to know how helpful this was for you. So again, thank you, Vicki, and thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.